Everybody, and welcome back. Today's theme is going to be about processing files, bouncing process files. In the case of, let's say you have maybe some keyboards or files you want to be mixed together to a single file, or more importantly, you're using plugins, for example, guitar simulators and simulation that you would like to have printed to track, and you want to send me, the engineer, or any other engineer, these process files. Okay, here we are in Cubase 6.5. The reason I'm showing this in Cubase is because I feel more comfortable with it, and it's quite similar to other DAWs in this case of what I want to show. What we have here are 3 tracks. These are direct signals, direct out of the guitar, a bass and 2 guitars that sound like this. As you can hear, that's nothing spectacular. I would like to apply a amplifier setting that I have here for all the instruments. These are 3 times the same amp from Plug-in Alliance, the Rock Rack, and I've made a sound that's like this. You can hear there's distortion now, and that's pretty much the sound I want to have. Now the point of this is to show you how to prepare files to send off to a mix engineer, be it myself or anyone else. And let's say you've got a setting, an amp setting, that is exactly how you want to have it, and you want to give the engineer this. Now you can export in a mix down, which some people do. I always say don't, because you'll mess up somewhere along the way if you have different levels in your faders, and if you do more songs, then things could get out of hand, and one song sounds like this, the other sounds like that, and in this case you pretty much know what you've got. So we'll start with the bass, and I'll solo the bass. I will open the plugin that I have in the bass. I'm going to save this preset that I have, which I've already done in advance. It's called Bass Let the Thunder Roll, so I don't need to do that again. Now I'm going to select the file, which is already selected, the bass DI. With Control and click, I will look for my plugins pop-out menu and call up this plugin. And I quite simply load the setting that I had saved. I can preview it just to be sure. Okay, that's the sound as I remember it. Quite simply, I push process, and I'll speed this up so we don't have to wait so long. And I can now turn off this inserted plugin, playback. And you hear that I have the sound that I'm looking for. Okay, now we go to the guitars. I have 2 guitars, a left and right guitar. Now these guitars have similar settings. When I play back with the setting, we hear my distorted sound. I open the plugin as I did before, save the preset, which I had done in advance, as Guitar Main Let the Thunder Roll. The song, by the way, is called Let the Thunder Roll. This song is just being released on the new Pink Cream 69 album, and we recorded with the DI, but we reamped later. Some songs we did, some songs we didn't. In this case, we knew we wanted it, so we recorded this way. But for the sake of it, I'm showing you how to do this with plugins. Okay, I'm gonna turn off these plugins on the guitars, and we just have DI signals. In this case, because I have 2 signals that I want to process similarly, or exactly the same rather, I can select them both. If I had more guitars or more tracks, I could select them all and do the same thing. So I select, Control click, or right click on the PC, choose my plugin, load my preset, which is here, Guitars Main Let the Thunder Roll, and simply process. Okay, they're done. If I play back, okay, we can hear that all the files have been processed. If I look in my Finder, also known as the Explorer, where the arrangement is saved, we'll see under my audio folders, the original bass DI, the guitar DI signals, and the process files are actually here under edits. There's more because I tried to do a video earlier and I screwed up, so they're still in there. Now, to ensure that you don't have too many files when you send these files off to your mix engineer, the safest thing you can do is first open your pool window, your audio window, and make sure there's no excess files there. Then you go to File, Backup Project. I will make a new folder in the same folder and call it Process Files. God, I hope I wrote that right. And I've selected that one. I will give it a name to back it up. I'll keep it as exporting process files. Remove unused files. And this goes relatively quick. Okay, the backup is done. I'll go look in my Finder here under Let the Thunder Roll, Process Files. Now we see I have the same folders as here because it's a backup, and I still have my DI signals. And under Edits, though, I have only the files I needed. Under Edits are the process file. So that we don't have any issues, and since this is just a copy or a backup of what we already have, let's delete all those direct signals under Audio. Under Edits, let's rename this folder Audio so that we know this is our main audio folder. Now let's rename these DI signals to Plugin, because I use a plugin. So now you see we have just the files we need in this folder. And now you can send this folder off. Everything else is irrelevant. You can even delete it if you want. And then you have only this folder. Okay, under Pro Tools, it's pretty much the same concept. We have here bass and two guitar DI signals with their respective plugins on the tracks. I've made the settings as I want to have them. I have saved the settings here under Save Settings As. You can name it as you want. And I've made a bass and I've made a guitar settings. Those are all prearranged. As in Cubase, you select the file. You go then to Audio Suite and look for your plugin. In this case, I have two and I have to make sure I get the right one because one is for a stereo signal. I think it's this one. I open it. I load the preset. The presets show up here. In this case, that's the bass track. I can preview it. Okay, that's the right one. And here we process. Okay, we can close that now. It's done. We can now hear that the signal's been processed. Guitar, the same thing. You can choose them both. Go to Audio Suite. Choose your plugin. Load the plugin in. I have it here on the guitar. And process them both. Okay, it's done. We can close this now. If I solo the guitars, we can hear that they are all processed. In the Audio Regions window now, you will see both processed and unprocessed tracks. In this case, to be sure that we have the right ones, we can, with Command Shift and U, select unused, which you see here, they're selected. Command Shift B asks to remove or delete. In this case, I'm just going to remove, so that we have only these process files. It's a good idea now to maybe rename these as Plugin Let the Thunder Roll. And then we see here we have only those files. I want to be sure I'm giving the mix engineer just the files he needs. I go to Save Copy In. Choose the format. In this case, I'll stay with the latest version of Pro Tools. I will copy all audio files. I want to keep my bit depth and everything as I have it. I want to stay in Wave. I say OK, and then I have to look for a folder. Here's Let the Thunder Roll. Here's my Pro Tools folder. I will now make a new folder called Process Files, as we did for Cubase. create, save. And then when we go to the Finder, we can see that there's a copy with just these files. So we are done. I hope that made some sense for everybody, and I hope it was some kind of a help. If you have any other questions regarding the process, a similar process, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.